Hi there, it's Ryan McAbee with Pixel Dot Consulting. And of course, I have my good friend Pat McGrew from McGrew Group. And our special guest today is Simon Lindow. And you are the Director of Global Strategic Partners for PrintFactory. Did I get that right?
Perfect.
All right. So we're here to talk a little bit today about PrintFactory. And, Simon, I think anybody that's been around the wide format space, they know you for your color capability in the software. So let's touch a little bit on that to begin with before we get into the workflow and workflow automation pieces. So what does
Sure.
PrintFactory bring in terms of color quality, consistency, and efficiency?
So we've been working since 2011 on a device link color engine, which we call VisU, which harks back to a division of the original company when we started in 1989. We saw the ambiguities in creating profiles in large format RIP solutions early on, and the fact that it was painful and laborious and one profiling step at a time, and people had their own tips and tricks as regards to how to get perfect gray balance in the ICC world, where to clip primaries, where to set lighting to darkening transitions, what tack to set, and so on and so forth. So very, very early on, we needed to harness the technology that we use, which is device link color management, which is typically seen in high-end contract proofing and color management in offset and flexo and reviewer. We wanted to harness that technology and that power, but we wanted to make it easy. So the whole architecture around PrintFactory is having all the tools, all the power to solve production issues from pre-press all the way through to production, but with ease and speed. And that was the case when we focused on our color engine, and we're still developing it. It's still an evolving process, but the idea was to have a solution where anybody with no color management skill whatsoever could easily build profiles that outperformed pretty much all the competition. In fact, all the competition, bar none. So gave you a perfect visually matched G7 output on all printers, all materials, all ink disciplines. So from UV to UV gel to resin-based latex printing technology, if you call it that, eco solvent, water-based, dye sublimation, anything inkjet driven. You can easily build PrintFactory profiles with no color management skill whatsoever, and it's a next process. And we not only do we de-skill it, but we made it quicker. We made it easier. We would put a lot of very clever algorithms in the background of the software that made color management decisions that a color consultant expert would make normally. We made those automatically based on the measurements that we gather from the spectrophotometer that reads the color patches. But we also removed various steps in that process. So, for instance, lighting to darkening transitions, linearization, color linearization, and ink clipping for the primaries is all done in one chart, where it's 2 or 3 steps in other RIPs. Tack is automatic in most cases, apart from when you need strike through for flag or you need more density for backlit display samples, whether that's fabric or film. And then there's a gamut building chart, and that's it. And we don't limit you to one profiling session at a time like every other solution. So you can build multiple profiles at the same time, quick, easy. You can recalibrate them with proofing grade, iterative recalibration. And we've added bolt loads of other amazing color tools in there, like the probably most powerful color management tool in large format, or color printing full stop, which is the ability to PrintFactory, as you've seen, Ryan, PrintFactory gets perfect grey balance out of the box because we use our device link color management. But we do understand that inks, there are thousands of different ink types, and they're sitting on different materials. They suffer from metamerism under different lighting conditions. So we give the customers the ability to pick a winner, tune their own grey balance as well, which is very, very powerful tool. Spot colors is, we have a clean spot color workflow, so we purify spot colors that are out of gamut. We have an advanced pick a winner spot color tuning tool as well, which enables you to digitize 100 spot colors in as little as 25 minutes to read them all in samples, and then to visually tune them all together at once. So you could match 100 odd colors, dye sublimation, for example, for sportswear, as I did recently, in as little as half a day. You're done.
Simon,
anyone who has ever met you on a show floor knows that you can talk about color for hours at a time. And we're hoping that they're going to find you on a show floor and do that. But before we run out of time, I do want to ask you to spend a couple minutes on the Print Factory workflow automation story because we found it fascinating.
That's the key thing because for me, I mean, I've been in color management now for 32 years. So the fact that we have a color engine that is it's the number one in large format inkjet digital printing, full stop. I mean, the fact that we do all of that and we save typically 15 to 25% of a customer's digital ink bill. And I know a lot of vendors say the same thing, but we prove it every single day, every single week, whatever. That's all good stuff, and we do that, and we've done that. And I've been doing that now for Print Factory for the last 9, 10 years. As you say, the exciting stuff is what we do up front because um, you know we solve the production issues on the production floor in terms of print and cut, integrated solution, color, not having to waste material, revisioning prints to get the right color, and so on and so forth. But there's also another bottleneck we need to talk about, and that's pre-press, because typically our customers, and you know this, are typically using an application suite from our friends at Adobe that is not been specifically designed for large format printing, to be fair. It's a powerful suite of products for design tools, but it's being used, in the wrong way. Because it actually edits the file itself, it has scaling limitations, and so on and so forth. So we created a solution that looks very Illustrator-like, Adobe-like, but it's a powerful front-end editing tool. It's a fully functioning PDF pre-flighting and editing tool. It shares a lot of the non-copyrighted tools of Illustrator. It plays nicely with the Adobe apps because it opens AI files, PSD, PSB, all the image file formats. But you can do so much in it, and it's instant because it's not actually editing the file itself. You work in final size. There's no scaling limit. It creates an XML job ticket in the background with all the edits you make, whether it's tiling, whether it's bleed, whether it's grommet placement, whether it's contour cut generation around different shades, whether it's making transparencies, all that sort of stuff. All those tools and all the tools that are in our layout, our in position nesting app with slick double-sided printing and sandwich printing and tree shape nesting, which is super, super powerful. All of that creates an XML job ticket, which goes with the original file to the RIP for the RIP to do the heavy lifting. It's a very, very slick, very, very fast, easy workflow. And we've de-licensed both those products in the past sort of 4 or 5 years. So anybody with a compatible Mac and Windows operating system can use those applications at the same time, either in the local area network or abroad, because we also have smart working. So both those applications now you can license with a email and password, and you can see all the production printers and cutters with a cloud symbol in front of them, and it goes via our Amazon web link, cloud link. Because we gave up USB dongles in 2008. We settled on Amazon Web Services as our license delivery system, our automatic resource backup, and disaster recovery solution. So we've always been with that XML architecture in the background at the forefront of automation, because some of our earliest automation customers, one of the biggest printers in the world, if not the biggest printer in the world, has used that as their template. So they created a product SKU manually. They opened up the XML ticket for that. They saw where the variables were, and they basically fill those variables in with an MIS ERP system, and a different file path for the assets or the asset, and they could just drop XML job tickets in to do everything automatically what the front end applications that we supply do.
That's a good use case for automation, right?
Completely for automation. So like what you guys call lights out, but we understand that not every company has access to XML scripting experts by any stretch of the imagination, and sometimes it can be quite expensive to be able to marry the expertise in bolting a front end MIS ERP or web to print system to workflow solutions, RIP workflow solutions in our case. So we've tried to mitigate that with providing almost an automation for dummies book. Yeah. I say that with no disrespect, but
It's a
what I
de-skilling
mean by
process you've talked about
de-skilling,
before.
again, the same de-skilling process, exactly the same de-skilling process. Customers can go from basically just hot folder driven output with our production plan, with quite a few steps where you've got automatic pre-flighting, automatic white generation, automatic PDF cropping to trim box, putting cut data on, bleed, your tiling, all that sort of stuff. The usual stuff that is in most workflow RIPs as well, right up to a full feature-rich RESTful API, which can be bolted in with professionals. Yeah, and it's well documented now. It maybe wasn't about 6 or 7 years ago, but it is now very well documented and public. So they can do all that sort of integration. But the exciting thing is our workflow. That's I know what floats your boat, Pat. It's the workflow
It
tool.
does. And Simon, unfortunately, we've kind of run out of time. But that's actually like the perfect tease, because anyone who wants to understand the PrintFactory workflow, now they've got to come talk to you. And
Definitely.
That's exactly what we want them to do, because
I'll give you one little teaser. One little
teaser. You got it.
Workflow automation. You can drive it without XML. You can drive it with XML. You can drive it with JDF. You can drive it with a direct database link. But you can also drive it with CSV, Excel documents, and even you can drive it in automation with file name, with a regex builder, where you pass out instructions from the actual file name to automation, with a whole host of everything we talked about, but in a completely automated and unlimited workflow. People can build their own workflows.
If that doesn't get people into your Stand Up Printing United or onto your website or into contact with you, I don't know what will. Because certainly your story of driving profitable print is one that everybody should be paying attention to. And we want to thank you for taking time with us today.
It's been my absolute pleasure, Pat. Thank you, Ryan. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you.